And as I said earlier, it is a pleasure to have you here in East Fond du Lac. Not only, you've been here once before, and when I called you, we tried a couple of times and the schedule wouldn't allow it, but I caught you at the right time.
If I'm interrupting anyone's view, please let me know and I'll step aside.
I've said this everywhere I go in front of crowds all over the United States. Wrestling fans are the greatest fans in the world because they're extremely loyal. And they never forget. I mean, it's amazing. I went to Scotland last year, and I'm walking into their equivalent of a Walmart. And a little boy, he could have been 6 years old, maybe 6 years old, was with his grandmother, and he's walking out and he walked by me. He said, "Grandma, that's $1 million man. I almost had a cow." I looked at him and I went, "And you know who I am?
You are awesome!
I'm 60 years old now. I'm a grandfather, right? You know, I'm 40 pounds, so I don't have blonde hair, you know. I've changed. You know, some people want me to go, what happened, you know?
Well, I'm going to take you back down the road, just a little memory. It started back in 1978 here in St. Louis. You came up to St. Louis under the guidance of a friend of ours that I had the pleasure of knowing and learned a lot from, Sam Muchman.
To give me a break and to feature me in St. Louis, and I don't know if the fans understand this, but St. Louis was like it was an entity of itself. It was like a one-city territory, because this was in a time when wrestling was very regional, and you had regional territories. There was Florida Championship Wrestling, Georgia Wrestling, you know, the WWF was the East Coast, and then there was, you know, 2 promotions out on the West Coast, and there was one in Oregon. But if you came to St. Louis, and if you were given an opportunity to be a star in St. Louis, then the whole nation found out who you were. And because the talent that came to St. Louis to wrestle came virtually. I mean, I would come to St. Louis and there'd be guys from, you know, like from Diamond's territory, somebody from Florida, and somebody from Georgia. So it was like a one-city territory. But if you got that break, and if you got over, the whole country was going to find out about you. And the first major event in my life was at the Peel Auditorium with Harley Race for the Olympic World title. And at that time, the largest payoff of my life. But that match is the match that put me on the map. And it was not long after that because of a conversation that Sam Muchman had with Vince McMahon Sr., I got my first opportunity to go to New York.
And something else, some of our diehard wrestling fans probably know, some of them don't. The last match you had for the WWF and Hogan's first match, you was his partner. Is that correct? Or something along that line?
The last, when I went there in '79, I was only there, I wasn't there for quite a year. And the last match that I had is in early December against Madison Square Garden, and it was this new guy that nobody had ever heard of, except that he'd been in a movie. And his name was Hulk Hogan. But on that particular night, Hulk Hogan was the heel. He's the bad guy, man. And you know, and I'm the good guy, right? So I went to Vince Sr. and I said, "Now I know you want me to get this guy moving." And I said, "So tell me what you want." And probably the greatest compliment I could ever have. He said, Ted, he says, "I know you love the business, and I know you will do it right. Do it any way you want to." And so,
what a compliment!
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you know, I had that match with Hogan the first night. He thanked me, and as a matter of fact, you know, I saw him a couple of years later after he started to rise. You know, the whole WWF thing hadn't, you know, taken off yet. But he said to me, he said, "I owe you one, man." And I said, "Yeah, I know, I remember."
Well,
paid up to.
Let's talk about that. Let's tell the fans here what it was like to transition from the Ted DiBiase that we watched on television here in St. Louis, and then all of a sudden we flip on the television, and there's the $1 Million Man.
You know, it was a little bit surreal for me because when I first started watching the WWF back then, it was what Vince McMahon did with wrestling. you know, is he took it and he added the costumes and made the characters very over the top, almost animated. You know, made it like, you know, they made it, you know, they made like Family Entertainment, like the cartoon, the whole deal. So at first, you know, because I grew up in this business, I was kind of angry. I was like, you know what, these guys killing, you know, don't, it's not broke, don't fix it. But I understood after a while where it was going and how big it was going to be. So what I had to do is I had to become this character. And I think this picked me because as a heel, that's the way I acted anyway, very aloof, and I looked down my nose at people. And so Vince, you know, makes me this, I'm basically this Snidely Whiplash, you know, I'm like, what I never changed was what I did in the ring. I adopted the character, you know, I put the dollar signs on, I did the over-the-top interviews. When I climbed in the ring, I wrestled the way I always did, and I think that's what kept me where I needed to be.
Well, that's good. And you know, we brought you back here tonight for another special reason, and I know you're a member of several Hall of Fames. So we talked about it in the back. We've got a St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame that we started several years ago. Larry Matisek, myself, a friend of ours, Dick Rednire, is here with us tonight. There was about 6 or 7 of us on the committee that came up with this idea that we wanted to start our own St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. So we started periodically, and this is a legitimate one. We don't have the limousine drivers and all of them, you know, whoever's in there. These guys are the ones who really paid the price, the blood, sweat, and the tears in this ring. And just briefly, I'm going to run through a few of these names so everybody can kind of remember you, the Hall of Fame that he's going to be associated with tonight. In the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, we have the likes of course, in my eyes, the #1 wrestling promoter ever anywhere, Mr. Sam Muchnick. And of course, there wouldn't be a Hall of Fame anywhere that I know of. I get the honor of next month going up to Waterloo, Iowa, when my good friend Larry Matisek is being inducted into the Hall of Fame up there. To the Lou Fez Hall of Fame. Lou Fez is in the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. We've also put in Hall of Fame Pat O'Connor. Everybody remembers Pat O'Connor. Also in there, you just heard $1 Million Man Ted talk about him, none other than Harley Race. What about Dick the Bruiser? He's been in the Hall of Fame. We got Fritz Von Erich. Everybody remember Fritz Von Erich? One of my all-time favorites, one of the little one, and Ted probably remembers him, Johnny Valentine. Is in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, a good friend of ours for many, many years that I did a lot of work with, King Kong Bruiser Brody. Another gentleman, some of you may be too young to remember, but Wild Bill Longston. Young of you remember him, Ted. Another gentleman, Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy. We've also got Jack and Jerry Briscoe in the Hall of Fame. What about Terry and Dory Funk Jr. in the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame? These are guys that started you training, right? So, and then one other one, we tried to get him here before his untimely passing. None other than the big guy himself, Big Thunder, Gene Kaniski. Gene is in there. So Ted, I think you'll see that that's quite a list of people that you're going to go in there with.
Well, you know, it's and that's just it. To be inducted in the Hall of Fame is to be honored by your peers, to be honored by people that you're in this business with, and when you read all of this names, you know, it's not only an honor, it's extremely humbling for me because, you know, all of those guys that you mentioned are guys that I looked up to, many of them who helped me become a good wrestler, and so you know, it's a tremendous honor, and it is, and especially again for me in St. Louis, and I don't say it lightly. St. Louis was really a starting ground for me. I mean, the first major break in my life was right here in this area, and so to come back here and be honored by you guys is humbling and honoring. Thank you very much.
We got 2 other names that did that St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Our good Larry Matosek. The voice of St. Louis Wrestling. Larry is in there, and along with another gentleman who was with us over here for many, many shows, and over in South Broadway, Clubbing Club, he'd come down there, our good late friend, Mickey Garagiola, who was the ring announcer. Also joining, Nick, why don't you come on up here? Nick Rednauer is a member of the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame Committee. And at this time, we want to present Ted with a nice plaque here, and it says, Ted DiBiase, $1 million of talent and charisma. DiBiase was an exciting superstar before the WWE and ever came calling. Let's hear it for there he is, Ted DiBiase. Congratulations on that. Now also being inducted with the $1 Million Man into the St. Louis Hall of Fame, we have two other late great legends that we're putting in that is not with us any longer, but their plaques will also go up on the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. You may remember Rip Hawk. Who remembers Rip Hawk? A tough guy. And then the other one that's going to be going there with him, probably one of the first scientific wrestlers that I ever remember really enjoying, Mr. Wilbur Schneider. So he will also be going, he's going to be going over to the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Ted, as I said before, my friend, it's always a pleasure. You're always welcome back to the St. Louis area, especially during this time. I know you're a busy man. I don't mean to bother you all the time. You always call back when I call.
If it weren't for you, the fans, none of this would be possible. So thank all of you for your support throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it one more time for Mr. Ted DiBiase. Thank you. Thank you.
Can we hear the great catchphrase?
That's in case your pictures don't come out.
I want to hear.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us into our first intermission. Ted DiBiase will be staying right here in the ring for anyone who wants to come up and take pictures, purchase pictures, of course.
Hey, you guys want to go up there and get some pictures?
Pictures are $10. Step on up, get in the ring, take a picture with Ted DiBiase.